After the car accident, I awakened to my shock. I turned out to be the villainous cannon fodder side character in a bizarre kept husband novel. The male lead is my wife's former lover. My sister-in-law is his combative love-hate entanglement. My older sister-in-law is a domineering CEO who willingly gave up her throne for him. And I tried to seduce my wife's older sister, violate her younger sister, and repeatedly targeted the male lead, only to end up dead on the streets. When my corpse was discovered, I was still clutching half a croissant I'd picked up from the trash. It all felt bizarre, sure, but since I'd awakened ahead of the story, maybe this was heaven's way of showing me mercy. Let's see how I'll win this ridiculous kept husband survival battle. Chapter 1. Host. The situation has been fully explained. Congratulations on successfully awakening. From now on, the plot is in your hands. The electric buzzing in my head was still echoing. I shot up from the hospital bed like a carp leaping from water, still chewing on an unfinished apple. I asked, "What did you say?" I tried to seduce my wife's sister, violate her younger sister, and I died still holding half a croissant. Hi. The system cut me off, grief-stricken. I know it's hard to accept at first, but if you don't start making changes now, everything will unfold just as written. A week ago, I was in a car accident on my way home. When I woke up, I was wrapped head to toe in casts, and this weird system had appeared in my head. It told me I was the villain in this novel, doomed to die while scheming against the male lead. Seriously, author, you think I could pull that off? Dare I even try? I'm the most pathetic rich second-generation heir in City A. My parents favor daughters over sons and have poured every ounce of support into my sister. As my mother puts it, I'm just a youthful accident caused by sloppy contraception. My sister was trained from birth to inherit the Kimura family legacy, while I was expected to just coast through life. Originally, I lived freely, riding horses and flirting with countless women without catching feelings until our family business hit a snag. My parents tricked and sweet-talked me into going to the Tanaka family for a political marriage. Ugh, I mean a marriage alliance. Though my wife Hikari and I weren't passionately in love, we at least got along with mutual respect. Hikari is the second daughter of the Tanaka family and stunningly beautiful. Her eldest sister Kiko controls 90% of the Tanaka business empire. She rarely smiles and radiates an air of cold abstinence. I tried to seduce her. I'd need 9 lives to even begin paying for that. The Tanaka family is the wealthiest in City A. They say wealth doesn't last 3 generations, but the Tanaka lineage has lasted centuries, true nobility. Old Master Tanaka dreams of a male heir to carry on the family business, but this generation has only 3 daughters. Youngest Hannah was expected to live a carefree heiress life like me since her 2 older sisters were already outstanding. But she unexpectedly broke into showbiz and made a name for herself, becoming the youngest triple threat best actress. I dared to violate her. Her fans could drown me and spit alone and send me flying into the Atlantic. The system didn't care about the look of horror on my face. It just kept yapping. Then the hospital room door opened. My wife walked in. She said, "The doctor said you need to rest. Why are you sitting up? Are you trying to make your injuries worse?" Hikari's voice was as cool and clear as mountain spring water, and I immediately wanted to leap into her soft, fragrant embrace. But the memory of her having me beaten half to death and thrown out of the Tanaka house was still fresh. I hobbled to the corner and shouted, "Don't come any closer." Chapter 2. Hikari frowned. "Didn't they say there was no brain injury? Get the doctor here right now." She helped me back onto the hospital bed and sent her assistant to fetch the doctor. Meanwhile, she kept pressing her forehead against mine to check my temperature. The faint scent of orchid wafted into my nose, and I was suddenly very much in the mood. She said, "You're still sick. What are you thinking about?" Her tone was teasing, and I turned my head away awkwardly. I said, "I wasn't thinking anything. Don't make things up." She smiled softly. "Really? Some people swallow way too loudly, you know? Lust clouds the mind." Before I got married, my dad once held my hand and spoke to me earnestly. "Take good care of your wife, just like I do with your mom. Being hopelessly in love is the best dowry a man can bring into marriage." My mom is extremely dominant. Not only did she demand the family business carry her surname, but even my sister and I had to take her name. My dad must have had a tough time all these years. At first, I was genuinely worried. What if Hikari started keeping a toy boy right in front of me? In this circle, regardless of gender, if you've got money and power, plenty of people are eager to be someone's sugar baby. Should I endure it, or endure it, or endure it? The Tanaka family holds the lifeline of our household. I can't be the one to ruin everything my parents and sister worked so hard to build. I had already braced myself to be cheated on, but to my surprise, Hikari turned out to be unexpectedly disciplined. Even when a group of shirtless hunks with 8-packs walked past her, she didn't spare them a glance. If we hadn't connected so well during our deeper interactions, I might have started questioning her orientation. But the thought that my darling wife would eventually kill me for the male lead, it really stings. Mr. Kimura's external injuries only require rest, the doctor respectfully reported to Hikari. As for the other issues you mentioned, would you like a psychiatrist to get involved? Hikari waved him off. No need, she said, then began packing up our things to take me home. The system started blaring in my head again. See, if a woman doesn't care about you, it's because she's hiding something. I shook my head in frustration and blurted out loud. Shut up, you're insane. Hikari just glanced at me and went on packing. Great, now she definitely thinks I'm crazy. She probably only turned down the psychiatrist to save face for the Tanaka family. After all, they can't have a lunatic-kept husband tarnishing their reputation. The system then screamed, Level 1 alert. The male lead has entered the scene. Host, stay clear. No sooner had the system finished shouting than the door swung open and a tall figure appeared in the doorway. Sorry, wrong room, said the man. His voice was bright and confident, and his slightly droopy, almond-shaped eyes gleamed like a wet puppy's. Crap, this is the part where the second female lead inevitably falls for the male lead. Hikari stared at him for at least half a minute. She said, Run. The man replied, Senior. As the male lead, Rin comes with all kinds of overpowered traits. He's from a poor background but works tirelessly, has good looks, and got into the best university on merit alone. Hikari was drawn to the rare qualities in him, and their romance became a legendary love story. Later, Rin broke up with her ruthlessly in order to study abroad. This was their first meeting since the breakup. If I'm not mistaken, this part of the novel was titled Chapter, Return to the Country. Chapter 3. Hikari and Rin gazed at each other with lingering affection, completely forgetting that I, the patient, was still lying in bed behind them. The system chimed in, old flames reigniting. Look at them pretending to be calm on the outside. Who knows what kind of storm's brewing inside? Your wife's eyes are literally red. The system never shuts up, but this time it had a point. I wasn't even sad anymore, just busy thinking about how to be gracefully packed up and shipped back to the Kimura household. I didn't want to be thrown out, end up a cripple on the streets, dying while clutching half a croissant I'd fished out of the trash. I said lightly, So, you two know each other? The sultry air in the room broke. Hikari snapped back to her senses and said, Rin is my junior from university. He just got back from overseas. This is my husband, Daiki. Rin gave me a bright, open smile. Nice to meet you. Your wife and I were really close back then. This smug frog, first thing he does is stake a claim right in front of me. I clench my fists, then let go. Survival first. I can't afford to mess with the male lead. I said, maybe I should go give you two some space to catch up. I reached for the cane beside the bed as I spoke. Hikari grabbed my hand. You're a patient, just stay put. Rin added, Yeah, Mr. Kimura, Senior's busy with work. Don't cause her more stress. My fists clenched again. Dad, I've met that male seductress you warned me about. I stared daggers at Rin. According to the system's storyline, he should currently be entangled with Hannah, the third female lead. The two sisters were supposed to fight over him, while he strung both along and also captivated the main heroine. Driven by jealousy and resentment, I was written to oppose him at every turn, eventually becoming so unhinged that I tried to force myself on Kiko and Hannah. Naturally, I met a brutal end because my character is literally just a brainless idiot. Meanwhile, Rin, protected by the Tanaka sisters, dodged every bullet I fired at him and ended up with the girl and Hikari's heartfelt blessing. The author must really hate me. Couldn't even give me a dignified death. I racked my brain for a workaround, and suddenly, there it was. Hikari is the one who eventually kicks me out, so if I don't harm the male lead and make sure Hikari doesn't hate me, at least I might survive. Seeing how reluctant she looked apart from him, I spoke up loudly. It's a joy to reunite with an old friend, Ren. If you don't mind, why don't you come over for dinner tonight? Wife, that's all the help I can offer you now. At the family dinner, everyone was all smiles. Hikari and Ren were chatting about their college days, the whole villa ringing with laughter, and I felt like an invisible ghost. Frustration bubbled inside me, and the system piped up again. See that chubby orange tabby on the table? Even if you meow just like it, all eager and loud, you'll never be part of this play. I couldn't hold back and rolled my eyes, only to be caught red-handed by Run. He smiled innocently. Sorry, Mr. Kimura, he said. Senior and I were just enjoying ourselves. We totally forgot you were here. Wow, this is my house. Where exactly should I be, under the car? Hikari looked at me with a hint of coldness, but her good manners only allowed her to say, if you're bored, maybe take a walk in the garden. That was a clear hint to leave. Any later, and it would be rude. Just as I got up, the maid's voice rang out. Third miss, you're here. Second miss is entertaining guests at the moment. Ren stiffened slightly, and the system practically squealed with excitement. Here we go. The first official love triangle showdown is about to begin. Chapter 4. With a fake smile plastered on my face, I welcomed Hannah into the house. The moment she stepped in, her eyes locked onto Run. Sparks flew, chemistry exploded. The previously lively villa fell silent. As the side character, it was my duty to move the plot forward. I asked, so, Hannah, you know Rin too? She said, yes. At the same time Rin replied, no, then added, Mr. Kimura, please just call me Run. I rubbed my forehead with a wry smile. Hannah, seriously. Turns out the two of them were fighting. Hannah had sent someone to track Rin and found out he was at my place. Seeing him happily chatting with Hikari had made her jealous. Run, come here, Hannah said in a low, commanding tone. But Rin stiffened his neck and refused to move. Hannah frowned. How many times do I have to explain? I have nothing going on with that guy. It's him who keeps trying to create fake dating rumors. She took a step forward, and Ren's lips tightened. He seemed a bit swayed, and just then, the TV in the room started playing entertainment news. Recently, the media revealed a romantic scandal between A-list actress Hannah and rising star Haru. The two were seen passionately kissing on the streets of London, sparking envy all around. Veins bulged on Ren's forehead, and his eyes and nose turned red. He shouted, That's your idea of nothing going on? You two look like the perfect celebrity couple, while I'm just some cosmic joke. As the atmosphere grew increasingly tense, I panicked, trying to think of a way to defuse the situation. I ended up spinning in circles on the couch. Senora, look out! Ren shouted. A loud bang, followed by the sound of a screen shattering. Glass flew everywhere, but Ren had already thrown himself in front of Hikari to shield her from the blast. Fuck, my 200-inch LED TV. Hannah stood there holding half a shattered wine bottle, radiating pure aggression. With a chilling smile, she gritted her teeth and said to me, Brother-in-law, looks like it's time you replaced that TV. Rin glared at her. Senior didn't do anything to you. What the hell are you going off about in someone else's house? As expected of the male lead. Hannah, after all, is infamous for being a rich, spoiled brat. I've always been too timid to confront her, but Run, he dives right in. Hannah snapped, I'm going off? You really not know who I'm going off for. Come with me right now, or don't blame me for what happens next. She was furious and reached out to drag Rin away by the hand. Hikari stepped in and said firmly, Hannah, you'd better calm down first. Hannah raised an eyebrow and said coolly, In what position are you in to tell me that, his ex-girlfriend? I don't know if it was my imagination, but I swear Hikari sneaked a glance at me after hearing that. Rin looked pale and turned to Hikari. Senior and I are ancient history. We're just old friends catching up. Is this really necessary? Hannah scoffed. Wow, I should give you an award for best ex-boyfriend. Even years after the breakup, you're still rushing to protect your ex in a crisis. A full-blown drama scene. I felt a chill rise from my feet and quickly called the maid to clean up the mess. The maid gasped when she saw Ren. Mr. Ito, your hand is bleeding. I gave her a side eye and muttered inwardly. So dramatic. One day I really am going to fire you. A shard from the broken TV had sliced Ren's arm. Blood was flowing freely now. Hikari and Hannah shouted in unison, What happened? Their eyes were full of concern. I clicked my tongue and turned to leave, But only then did I feel a sharp pain in my back. I reached around and felt something sticky in my palm. Just before I blacked out, I think I saw Hikari drop everything and run toward me, leaving Rin behind. All right, if this is a hallucination, I'd rather stay in it a little longer. Chapter 5. Back again in that alto familiar VIP hospital room. The young nurse joked that I might as well get a membership card. Bitterness welled up in my chest. I hadn't even started making trouble yet, and I was already getting injured this often. If this keeps up, I might actually die. When I woke up, Hikari wasn't there. Well, of course, she must have gone to check on Ren. But then, why was Hannah sitting at my bedside, head down, peeling an apple? She said, "Sorry, brother-in-law, I got you hurt." Well, now I've seen everything. The little Hellraiser herself was apologizing to me. She was sitting a bit too close, and I instinctively leaned back. I said, it's fine. You've always been someone who wears her heart on her sleeve." She handed me the apple, which looked like it had been gnawed on by a dog, and asked, "What do you think about my second sister and Ren?" Ah, so this was a test. Hannah, the tragic second female lead, adored by many, moody on the surface, but hopelessly in love with Rin underneath. According to the novel's plot, she now suspects that Rin and my wife are rekindling old flames. After seeing him injured, she's even more heartbroken. She'll soon try to throw money in my face to get me to leave Hikari and grant the former lovers their happiness. I know all too well how Hannah operates. In her world, I'm nothing but a bug. She said, "If you leave my sister, I'll give you a large sum of money and get you out of City A, and don't worry about your Kimura family business. I'll make sure it's well taken care of." I glanced at the empty doorway. A memory suddenly floated up. Our wedding night. I had been pretty drunk after partying with a bunch of my loser friends. When I walked into the bedroom, Hikari was already in her pajamas, reclining on the couch. When she got up and handed me a bowl of hangover soup, her shawl slipped down, revealing her stunning figure. Her skin was like porcelain, smooth and glowing. That was the moment I finally understood what the phrase, like jade, like snow, really meant. Hikari's always been good to me. Everyone else laughs and calls me a spineless kept husband, but only she would rest her head on my shoulder and whisper, "They don't know how good you are, but I do." But I also know if she married someone else, she'd probably treat him just as well. Rin is the only one who truly lives in her heart. Hannah seemed to be losing patience. She raised a slender finger and held up a number, 100 million. That should be enough for you to live comfortably for the rest of your life. If I walk away now, not only do I get to live, I also walk away rich. Just imagining being crippled and dumped on the street by Hikari's people, dying while holding a trash-picked croissant, made my liver twitch. I reached out and gripped Hannah's finger. "Deal." She raised an eyebrow. "So eager to leave my sister, huh?" Ah, this was her cue for me to deliver some grand, convincing speech. I said, "You know, it's just a business marriage between me and your sister. We've been putting on a show for years. I've had enough of being a gutless kept husband. Whoever wants this life can have it. You take care of my family. I'll take your money and ride off into the sunset. That's what real living is." Hannah nodded, clearly satisfied. I let out a long sigh of relief. Finally, I'd passed the test. But then an angry voice came from the doorway. "So you've been wanting to leave me all along? Can someone tell me why?" The doorway, which was just empty a second ago, was now packed with people, familiar faces, no less. Hikari, my dad, my mom, and my sister. One look at their dark, devastated expressions, and I knew they'd heard every word I said. I tried to get up and explain, but I tugged at the wound on my back and collapsed clumsily back onto the bed. Hikari slammed a lunchbox onto the table and stared at me coldly. "Divorce? Not a chance." My dad rushed to my side, hands on his hips, and roared, "You idiot. Looks like it's not your back that's injured, it's your brain. Hikari went out of her way to bring us here to see you, and even made soup for you herself. And this is how you repay her." I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Hannah had already used "I need to pee" as an excuse to escape the scene. I gave up and pulled the blanket over my head, not wanting to hear another word of their nonsense. My mom kept apologizing to Hikari. "I'm so sorry, Hikari. It's all my fault for not raising him right. Please don't take it to heart." My sister was even more direct. She slapped me through the blanket and said, "Sister-in-law, if this punk ever acts up again, just let me know. I've got 100 ways to set him straight. Frustration and humiliation surged in my chest. I married into the Tanaka family for the sake of the Kimura family, willingly becoming a Livian husband, and now, with death potentially on the horizon, not a single one of my family members feels sorry for me. They're siding with outsiders to scold me. In the original storyline, after Hikari kicked me out, she coldly declared, "Anyone who shelters him is an enemy of the entire Tanaka Corporation." So even when I knelt at the gates of the Kimura house, no one let me in. I was nothing but a pure tool, spineless all my life. Now, I just want to live for myself. I threw off the blanket and shouted, "You've never once treated me like family. All you care about is the Kimura family's interests. You don't even see me as a human being. You married me off to the Tanaka family like I was a bargaining chip into a den of wolves. Do you have any idea how terrified I am every single day, just trying not to get killed by accident? I want a divorce." Chapter 6. After I let it all out, the room went dead silent. Everyone looked at me in shock. Even Hikari's usual graceful composure seemed to crack. Her lips parted slightly as she slowly walked toward me. She said, "Daiki." I raised a hand to stop whatever she was about to say. "Don't. I don't want to hear it. I just want to be alone." Struggling, I got out of bed and, under everyone's gaze, shuffled out of the hospital room. The streets were crowded and busy. I had no idea how long I wandered. Thankfully, the real world doesn't have an audience. No one cared that I was stumbling down the road in hospital clothes, looking like a mess. A limited edition sports car screeched to a halt in front of me. A shifty-looking guy stuck his head out the window. "Daiki, you're trending on the internet." Some scummy paparazzi must have followed me and live-streamed the whole thing. The headline read, "Tanaka Corporation's kept husband seen acting out late at night. Twisted human nature or moral collapse?" My party animal buddy Kai saw the live stream and came all the way over just to laugh at me. I told him everything that had happened. Well, minus the whole system thing. He waved his hand grandly and said, "Come on, crash at my place tomorrow night. We've got the ultimate pool party." The last time I went to a party felt like a lifetime ago. The Tanaka sisters are ready to fight to the death over Rin. Then maybe I should start living my own carefree life. Chapter 7. At the Saito family villa, the night was drenched in neon lights, booming music, and a blur of dancing bodies. Countless young men and women reveled in the chaos. I, however, felt entirely out of place, sitting quietly by the pool, sipping my drink in silence. Kai strolled over with a starlet clinging to each arm. Twin sisters, both rising faces in the industry. He said, "You're no fun, man, sitting here brooding while the whole place is lit. These two say they admire you." According to the novel's plot, this is the moment where I should hook up with one of the girls, ride the wave of lust and drama, only to be caught by Hikari, leading to our final fallout. I looked up. The two women were wearing barely their bikinis, their figures perfectly sculpted, but all I could think was, still nowhere near Hikari. "Young Master Kimura," one of them purred, "we've heard so much about you. Would we be lucky enough to become your friends?" The entertainment industry was getting more cutthroat by the day. Lots of young actresses dreamed of marrying into wealth. Their favorite men, like me, no real power but married to a rich woman. In other words, easy to manipulate and loaded. I subtly leaned away from their intentionally close bodies, the smell of their heavy perfume making me dizzy. Kai saw I wasn't interested and waved them off. After they left, he plopped down next to me. He said, "Hikari's already moved on. You're still trying to be faithful? Come on, man, when life gives you a break, take it. Stop acting like a monk and enjoy yourself." I let out a long sigh and kept drinking. But then Kai suddenly lit up like he had an idea. He jumped to his feet and said, "I get it now. You like the cool, unattainable types, like Hikari. Just wait." 10 minutes later, he returned, trailing behind a group of women. He popped open a bottle of champagne. "Whoever takes care of my bro tonight, lead actress in Law's next film, is yours." I never realized just how physically strong women could be. Before I could react, I was swarmed. Lipstick kisses landed on my face, and one woman even tried to pull down my pants. It was completely insane. Eventually, they just picked me up and tossed me straight into the pool. Floating, half drowning, I spotted a familiar face at the edge of the water. Rin stood there watching me the whole time. When I scrambled out of the water, dripping wet. He handed me a towel. He said, "Carrying on like this, do you think you're being fair to Senior?" That did it. I saw red. I grabbed his collar and snapped. "And you think seducing a married woman is fair to your conscience?" His face darkened. "There's nothing going on between Senior and me. Insult me all you want, but don't insult her." Kai gritted his teeth. "So you're the pretty boy, huh? Just tell me how you want to be humiliated. I'll deliver." I kicked Rin in the backside, grinning wickedly. It was getting out of hand. I reached out to pull Rin away, but then a voice barked my name from behind, full of fury. "Daiki, haven't you made a big enough scene already?" Chapter 8. Hikari stared at me, furious. Rin, seeing a savior, practically crawled over to her, whining. "Senior, I was just trying to remind Mr. Kimura to behave himself, and he let someone kick me." Kai shot me a reassuring look, his face full of arrogance and confidence. He said, "Yeah, I kicked you. Got a problem with that?" My heart warmed. A real bro, ride or die. Hikari stepped in front of Rin to shield him. Her phoenix eyes narrowed slightly as she said, "Young Master Saito, your family's deal for that suburban land still hasn't gone through, right? I'd be happy to raise the price tenfold. If your father finds out it was all because of you, do you think he'll send you to South Africa to dig diamonds?" If Kai got exiled to Africa just for standing up for me, I'd never forgive myself. Suddenly, I heard a plop. What just flew past me? Kai was down on one knee, hugging Hikari's leg. "Second miss, I was wrong. Please spare this humble servant." Rubbing my pounding temples, I forced myself upright. "If you've got a problem, take it out on me. Leave my brother out of this." Hikari walked toward me slowly, her aura so intense I unconsciously backed away. She pulled out a tissue and started furiously wiping my face. "Bet it felt great being surrounded by all those women, huh? Your face is covered in lipstick." Embarrassed, I lowered my head and pretended I didn't hear. Then she pulled, "Your pants up." I frantically checked my waistband and stammered, "Let me explain." Halfway through the sentence, it hit me. Wait a minute. I'm the one who wants a divorce. Why is she still ordering me around like I'm her property? Most of the crowd here were the elites of City A. If this story got out, the whole world would know that the Kimura family's second son is a pathetic kept husband. I'd never live it down. Fueled by indignation, I stiffened my neck and declared, "Those girls? Not even a toe of theirs is inferior to you." To sell the scene, I grabbed the nearest woman and pulled her into my arms. "She's Sayuri." "Sayuri." The surrounding crowd audibly gasped. The woman in my arms stiffened. I looked down and almost had a heart attack. "Hannah," the system's smug voice chimed in. "Congratulations, host, on completing the death-seeking task. Attempted seduction of the sister-in-law." Hannah glared at me and slapped me hard. Through gritted teeth, she spat, "You've got a death wish." Rin immediately wrapped his arms around her protectively and barked at me. "Trying to get with your own sister-in-law, you disgusting, two-faced pervert. I won't let you get away with this." I sneaked a glance at Hikari. Her expression was one I'd never seen. 70% fury, 20% shock, and maybe 10% hurt. Kai was still on his knees in a spot no one could see. He gave me a thumbs up and mouthed, "Legendary." Rin took off his coat and draped it over Hannah's shoulders, all while continuing to curse me out like a righteous saint. I had a sinking feeling, like my ending as a cast-out, penniless street rat was now just inches away. I muttered to the system, "System, do you have any cheats, like rewinding time?" The system replied, "Sorry, host, my sole function is to remind you that you're a scummy supporting character. No extra perks included." I noticed Rin inching closer to the pool, and a crazy thought popped into my head. If the male lead dies, wouldn't all of this fall apart too? No more thinking, just doing. I charged at Ren like a madman, trying to shove him into the pool. I'd had enough of fate jerking me around. If I'm going down, I'm taking someone with me. Just as my hand gripped his collar, some bastard tripped me. My calf cramped mid-step, and I tumbled straight into the pool. Chlorinated water surged into my mouth and nose. One thought echoed in my mind. Shit, I'm so screwed. Chapter 9. In a daze, I felt someone pressing hard against my chest, with quiet sobbing echoing beside my ears. I tried to open my eyes, but everything was a blur. Then something cold and soft touched my lips, blowing air into me again and again. The system chimed in cheerfully. "Congratulations, host. On completing the death mission, failed attempt to eliminate the male lead. A violent coughing fit brought me back to consciousness. Hikari's face loomed, pale as a ghost, glaring at me. She must be furious, her face white with rage. Rin was sobbing like a little girl beside us. He cried out, "Daiki, you betrayed Senior, harassed Hana, and now you try to kill me. Calling you a beast would be an insult to animals." I collapsed limply to the ground, face ashen. Hikari's eyes bore into me as if trying to see through my very soul. She dismissed everyone else. Now it was just the two of us by the vast, empty pool. She must truly hate me for shaming the Tanaka family. Probably dragged me here alone to settle the score. Chances are I wouldn't even live long enough to crawl to the trash for a final croissant. I'd be executed on the spot. My thoughts churned in a panic. I wondered if years of our marriage could at least buy me a respectable death. Hikari pinned me against the wall. I shielded my face with my hands and muttered, "Please, not the face." She was silent for a long moment, then suddenly laughed, a sharp, chilling laugh that cut through the night like a blade. That was way scarier. I bent down, brought my face close to hers, shut my eyes, embraced myself like a martyr. I said, Fine. It was my fault for hurting your beloved Rin. If you want to hit me, just do it. Can't you let me keep a shred of dignity when I die? At least send me back to the Kimura family. I know I can't carry on the bloodline, but at the very least, I can add some ashes to the ancestral incense. Call it closure for our years of marriage. Please, I'm begging you." But instead of the slap I expected, something warm brushed my lips. It felt just like that moment of breath during resuscitation earlier. I opened my eyes. Hikari had risen on tiptoe, arms wrapped around my neck, and was kissing me with fierce determination. My heart skipped, and I abandoned all resistance, pulling her closer as if I could melt her into my bones. If I have to die beneath a peony in full bloom, well, what a glorious way to go. Only when my lips went numb did she finally let go. With a soft sigh, her lips parted. Her voice was sweet yet helpless. She said, "You really got me this time." Chapter 10. So you only sponsored Rin back in college? You two were never actually together. I handed a cup of hot tea to Hikari, stunned. She chuckled softly. "That's right. Don't believe me? Ask him." Rin stood nearby, still rubbing his sore, but his smile strained. "I swear there's nothing improper between Senior and me. I asked her to pretend with me, to put on a show for Hana. There are way too many guys buzzing around Hana. I just wanted her to get jealous and take me seriously. I once helped Senior with something. So this time she was repaying the favor, even at the cost of her reputation. Senior also wanted to see if she had a place in your heart. It was mutual support, that's all." I was screaming internally for the system, desperate to understand what the hell was going on, but the usually noisy system was suddenly dead silent, as if it had been poison mute. Hikari stroked my hair gently and whispered, "What's running through that head of yours? You still don't believe me. Being patted on the head as a grown man should be humiliating, but damn it, it actually felt kind of nice." Suddenly, something clicked in my brain, and I shouted at Ron, "What about my sister-in-law? You and the eldest Tanaka sister. What's going on between you two?" Ren's eyes bulged. After a long pause, he finally said, "You mean Chairwoman Tanaka? She's the head of a massive conglomerate. I'd be lucky to even breathe the same air as her. That's completely different from what the system told me." According to the plot, at this point, I was supposed to reject divorcing Hikari and start pestering Hana, causing a misunderstanding with Rin. Then Hana and Run would fight, and the real female lead, Hiko, would find a drunken run on the street, leading to a fateful one-night stand. Could it be that I accidentally triggered a hidden event that altered the plot line? Does that mean I actually succeeded in saving myself? Anyway, not dying was already the best possible outcome for me. That night, Hikari and I were lying in bed. She straddled me, drawing circles on my chest with her finger. "Daiki, should we have a baby?" she asked. A wave of sweetness rushed through me, but I still voiced my doubts. "Didn't you say before that you didn't want a child to get in the way of your career? What changed your mind?" In the dim light, I noticed a trace of sadness on her face. "Seeing you today, surrounded by women, with lipstick all over your face. I was crushed. When you said you wanted a divorce at the hospital, I was so furious I felt like killing someone. When you fell into the pool, I thought I might lose you forever. If I had your child, maybe then you wouldn't want to leave me. This scene, This position, this conversation, why does it all feel reversed somehow? I flipped her over and pinned her beneath me. Thunder rumbled outside, rain pounding against the windows. Later, she curled up against me, fully satisfied, and whispered, "Daiki, I love you." I kissed her forehead and replied, "I love you too." Forget the plot, forget the system. What matters most is cherishing this moment. And yet, just before I drifted off to sleep, I seemed to hear that familiar electro hum. The system's voice returned. "Host, you are the villainous cannon fodder side character. You are not destined to end up with Hikari. Accepting your role is the only path forward." I mumbled back, "No, I won't accept that. I won't die?" Nothing happened the next day, so I convinced myself it had all been a dream. After all, the system would never expect me to refuse fate. Hikari even replaced my old TV with a newer, more luxurious model. As we sat at the breakfast table, the morning news began playing in the background. Breaking. Tanaka Corporation's CEO Kiko spotted late at night drinking and holding hands with her sister's boyfriend. My knife and fork clattered to the floor. This damned plot, late as always, but never missing its cue. Chapter 11. I spent the whole day at home on edge, the system eerily silent. When I woke up, reality had once again aligned perfectly with the original plot. If that was the case, then my scripted death must be inevitable too. To prevent that from happening, I decided to make a run for it. I turned the whole house upside down and finally found a safe in Hikari's study. The password, shockingly, was my birthday. But there was no cash, no checks, no bank cards inside, just a single locked notebook. I had a strong hunch that something explosive was hidden inside. Otherwise, why would Hikari use such a huge safe just for it? I tried dozens of passwords, combinations related to both me and Hikari, but none of them worked. That's when I heard hurried footsteps downstairs. Before I could put the notebook back, Hikari burst through the door, followed by several bodyguards. Her face was livid as she pointed at me and screamed, "Beat him within an inch of his life." The trained bodyguards pinned me to the ground before I could even resist. As fists began raining down on my face, the damn system finally decided to speak up. "Host, I go offline for a little while, and you're already at the point of being written out of the story." I struggled to keep my sanity and replied in my mind, "How was I supposed to know? Do something. I don't want to be beaten half dead and thrown out of the house." But if all the misunderstandings were already cleared, why was the plot still dragging me toward death? As I dodged kicks and punches, my eyes landed on the fallen notebook. For some reason, an overwhelming force compelled me to open it. The system screamed, "Host, don't open it. You'll die." But a string of numbers suddenly popped into my head. 1228. I crawled forward, grabbed the notebook, and rapidly entered the code. Click. The lock opened with a snap. The system kept shrieking, but all I felt was a powerful jolt of electricity coursing through my body. A white flash overwhelmed my vision, and everything went black. Chapter 12. I woke up again, in the same VIP hospital room, the same nurse. Wait, why did I say again so many times? Wasn't I in a car accident on my way home, and Hikari brought me to the hospital? SSSHH. A sharp pain shot through my head. I jumped out of bed, clutching my temples and stumbling around the room. In my panic, I crashed into a familiar embrace, one that smelled like orchids. Hikari looked at me, full of worry, and called over her shoulder, "Doctor, come quickly. What's wrong with my husband?" This version of Hikari was completely different from the one I remembered. She didn't feel like a powerful CEO anymore, more like a gentle, caring wife. The doctor performed a thorough examination, then shook his head and sighed. His condition stems from emotional trauma. Only love can heal this. Hikari wiped away her tears and looked at me gently. "Let's go home. I believe there's always a way to make you better." It felt like I'd lost a massive chunk of memory. No matter how hard I tried to recall it, Hikari called in her bodyguards to escort us back. But when I saw those familiar black-suited men, it was like a dam burst in my brain, memories flooding back with terrifying clarity. I shrank into the corner, holding my head and wailing, "Don't hit me. I don't want to die. I don't want that croissant either." Hikari's eyes lit up as she rushed toward me, shaking my shoulders with excitement. "You remember? What else do you remember?" I composed myself and looked at her with confusion. She pulled out the worn notebook and held it out to me. "Take a look inside." Chapter 13, December 28th, 2020. Kiko. My parents set me up on a blind date. I had planned to just go through the motions, but the moment I saw her, I couldn't take my eyes off her. Her family's business was in trouble, and she said she hoped I could help her. She said her name was Hikari. May 4th, 2021. Cloudy. Today we finalized our engagement with the Tanaka family. I was so excited, I felt like a total lovesick fool. I was finally going to marry the girl I loved. August 8th, 2022. Sunny. Hikari looked stunning in her wedding dress, but it still couldn't compare to the very first moment I saw her. February 14th, 2023. Overcast. The best Valentine's gift this year. Hikari told me I'm going to be a dad. Judging by the handwriting, this was my journal and the password that unlocked it, the date I first met Hikari. But everything written inside felt completely foreign to me. Wasn't I supposed to be the one sent by my parents to marry into the Tanaka family for a strategic alliance? Then why did the diary say that her family business was in trouble and she had no choice but to go on a blind date with me? And wait, I'm going to be a father? My mind was in chaos. I shut my eyes tight and finally found a sliver of light amid the confusion. Chapter 14. Hikari said, when I was pregnant, I was incredibly needy. Every night, I'd beg you to read me a novel. The one you read to me was an urban romance about a kept husband. It was all about the Tanaka sisters and a male lead with a system full of love and betrayal. I cut her off in panic. So reading that book fried my brain and made me think I was the cannon fodder villain in the story? She burst out laughing. You're half right. Turns out Hikari had gone into labor and was having a very difficult delivery. While I was stuck on an overpass in traffic, losing my mind with worry, the nanny was on the phone rambling in panic. Madam's bleeding heavily. She's out of strength. The baby's head is stuck. She can't push. In desperation, I threw a wad of cash at a bystander, hijacked their motorbike, and raced through traffic, only to crash into a street cleaning truck at the hospital intersection. Hikari said, the ER doctor told me that just before you lost consciousness, you were still muttering. Being a woman is so hard. I never want my wife to suffer again. She laughed until she teared up, and her joy infected me too. My overwhelming worry for her, combined with reading over 3,000 chapters of that urban kept husband novel, broke my brain during the crash. I fully immersed myself in the role of the villain side character, so much so that I even stole the original male lead system. The psychiatrist said my condition couldn't be forcibly corrected. If the story didn't progress the way I believed it should, the shock might cause me to completely lose cognitive function. No wonder sometimes when I spoke to the system and Hikari overheard, she never reacted, because she knew the system was nothing but a construct of my own mind. Left with no other choice, Hikari decided to create a tailored dream world just for me. Using fragments of my jumbled memories, she acted the part of the Tanaka family's second daughter and enlisted Hannah, her boyfriend Ren, and everyone around us to put on a grand, immersive performance. I cut her off again. Then what about Kiko? I clearly remember you only have one sister, Hannah. Hannah laughed. Haven't you noticed? In all your memories, you've never seen Kiko. Where on earth are we supposed to find a real ice-cold CEO big sister like that? Totally unrealistic. I frowned. Then something else came to mind. Then what about my 200-inch LED TV? Are you saying it was lying to me? I saw the news reports about you all. Ren, still holding Hannah, grinned. Mr. Kimura, I work in tech. Faking a news segment like that? Piece of cake. I asked. Then what about my parents and sister? Right on cue, the hospital room door burst open. My cold and strict mother came charging in, bawling like a child and throwing herself onto me. My son, you're finally back. If anything happened to you, I wouldn't want to live either. My sister, the one who controls the entire Kimura family fortune, followed close behind, silently crying. My dad, usually head over heels in love, stood at the door with a deadpan face, growling. You embarrassed the whole family. Get up already. Wow, everyone really was acting. I latched onto another plot hole and turned to grill my dad. If your status in the family is so high, then why do my sister and I both have mom's last name? Why is the Kimura family business named after her too? My dad was speechless. Have you ever considered that I might also have the surname Kimura? I had no comeback. Then he added, take a look at your son. The nanny stepped forward, gently placing a swaddled baby in my arms. I fumbled to hold him properly. A strange, overwhelming feeling washed over me. Holy crap, I really am a dad. Chapter 15, Extra. Hikari. Lately, Daiki keeps pestering me with one. Why did I suddenly stop following the script when everything was going so smoothly? I'm not afraid to admit the truth. It might even sound silly. Back then, when we were in the hospital and his parents and sister hurt him so deeply that he wanted a divorce, at that moment, I just didn't want to act anymore. I thought, even if he spent the rest of his life suffering from dementia, I'd still stay with him. But that night, thunder rumbling, wind and rain pounding, I overheard a conversation between him and his system. The system in his head was guiding him toward death. I contacted his psychiatrist immediately in the middle of the night. The doctor said Daiki was in the middle of his final battle with his inner world. With everyone's cooperation and the elaborate act we all put on, his condition was gradually improving. But because I didn't stick to the storyline, it caused a ripple in his inner psyche again. The only solution: push the plot to its climax. Only in extreme emotional conflict would he find a breakthrough to return to normal. That's why I sent the bodyguards to stage his final wrap-up scene. There's no such thing as a system. What really exists is the love, unwavering and unconditional, from family and friends. Oh, and by the way, now every morning at breakfast, he insists on having a croissant. Only half of one.